So I was constantly looking for ways to try and stand out. And in hindsight, while my intentions were probably impure and not totally in line with what God asked me to do, I think God knew that would get me somewhere. I think he
Yep.
knew that if Sarah can feel seen, like let's help Sarah feel seen. And if she can feel seen, she'll get out of her own way and she'll try to help other people. And so I actually really, really encourage people. It's okay if your intentions have a little bit of humanity in them,
Mhm.
have a little bit of human experience, because I think God can create miracles with your less than 100% pure intentions because he is that good.
What is your opinion on why we aren't taught about money in school?
That's a super good question. So I believe that we are not taught about money in school for two reasons. Number one is because it's a taboo topic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a taboo topic as far as you have a public school system that has kids who can't even eat breakfast because of the amount of money coming in, and other kids that are driving, the latest Tesla truck into the parking lot, right? And so it's taboo. It's almost like, I'm just going to say it, it's almost like talking about health and wellness and weight in school, right? My husband is really not allowed to talk about people's weight, even though it is directly related to their success with anesthesia, right? Because it's offensive. But it has a massive impact on whether they're successful with what he does. But he has to be incredibly careful in navigating that topic. And I think public school, instead of trying to address it in a way that feels very whole and very principally based, they've just said that is a parent's job, right?
What belief did you had to actually being shifted at that time for you? When you see somebody else making more money different way than how you've been making yourself?
Ooh, can I give you two?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, the first one is time does not equal money. I know you and I both believe that.
Yep.
Time does not equal money. And the second thing that I would say, this is something Richie Norton taught me, is if you can change the way how you sell, you will change everything. And that is why I am so crazy passionate about one-to-many selling.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwashed To Be Broke series. Today's guest is the queen of conversion, turning expert knowledge into high-performing webinars that actually sell. She's the founder of Cashco Webinars and Victress Global, host of the Unreasonable Autonomy podcast, and the strategist behind millions in revenue from both live and evergreen webinars. If you've got a killer offer, but no clue how to pitch it at scale, this is the woman you call. Super excited to have her here. Welcome to the show, Sarah Grace Allred. What's up, Sarah?
Adam, so good to see you, my dear friend. And wow, I sound really fancy in that intro. So thank you. I'm all geared up and ready to go.
Thank you so much for being here. Super excited to have you. I have a bunch of questions prepared for you, but before we jump into them and explore your way of greatness, I would love to hear, and all the listeners would love to hear, how did you get into entrepreneurship, and where was the breaking moment for you when you realized that, the corporate job is not actually the way you want to live?
I love that question so much. And I think every entrepreneur is either facing this moment, this breaking point, or they've passed it and they hopefully are looking back on it with no regrets. So I would say that the breaking point for me was actually when I was a band director at a high school. I was teaching marching band, I was teaching percussion and drumline and pep band and wind ensemble. And I was a band director, and I was freshly married to the love of my life, Greg. And Greg's job, because he was still going to the university, he was a waiter on the weekends at the local steakhouse where we lived in northern Utah. And during that time, I started to get a hot minute resentful because his paycheck would come in from waiting tables on Friday nights and Saturday nights. And he was making more than I was making, working all week long and weekends and all summer long, because marching band, hello, band camp, it's a real thing, right? He was making more money than I was in just those two little weekend days at the local steakhouse. And so that was really the first time that seed of there has got to be a better way. This is unfair, is really what it felt like. And then it became much more clear when I actually had my first baby. She is now 16, right? I have a 16-year-old, Adam. It is the greatest. So my 16-year-old, when she was born, I knew that I didn't want to make that kind of money while I was away from her. right? I didn't
Mhm.
want to make this teeny little bit and be away from her all the time. It wouldn't have covered childcare, like none of that. And so I started to look into the future and I saw, hey, I know my husband is going to do medicine. He's a physician. And we have like a 13-year road ahead of us for him to go to medical school and residency and train and do all this stuff. And so I can't really rely, I'm not going to choose to rely on him to help me raise these amazing babies and build this family. But I still wanted to pursue something. I still wanted to
Mhm.
grow. And I knew we were going to have 13 years of near poverty, where I wanted to make up the difference, right? And I wanted to be able to contribute financially in some way, but I was absolutely unwilling to send my kids to a daycare. And I figured this crazy thing called the internet, there's got to be a way. And so while I won't go into the details of the how, why, what, when, whatever, everything changed when I saw an ad about a thing called the One Funnel Away Challenge with Russell Brunson.
That is
What?
amazing.
So amazing. And dear Russell, if you are listening, and you should be, I was the best student ever. I stuck with him for those 30 days. I figured out the tech. I built the funnel. I did the thing. And Adam, I made $3,000 on my
Wow.
first funnel launch. It was crazy. And that is more money than I ever made as a teacher when I was a band director, right?
Right.
And that was the spark that has started everything for me over the past 15 years as I've had four babies, as my husband's
Mhm.
completed medical school and residency. That was really the spark for me is I want to contribute, I want to learn, I want to grow, but I'm unwilling to leave my kids in a daycare and be away from them. That was it.
Mm. Oh my God, so interesting. And this is just amazing journey that you went and how, you know, this is, when you get into entrepreneurship is more most like most of the time it doesn't work for the first time. So you've been very lucky to actually make that work. That's really, really interesting. I love that so much. But before all of that success, how did you been raised actually? What was the, environment you've been raised, and what was the belief when it comes to money and success?
Oh, I am really, really lucky that I don't have a lot of trauma to bring to the table when it comes to this. So I grew up in an incredibly religious home. I'm a Mormon, member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You may know me as one of those. And so I grew up in a very religious setting that was very much centered around become the very best that you can be. Right. And it's
Hmm.
not too late if you're 40. It's not too late if you're 60. It's not too late if you're 8 years old. Like,
Hmm.
continue to improve yourself and be passionate and really, really good at what you choose to pursue, whether that is motherhood, whether that is a music degree, whether that is playing the violin, like be good and learn your craft in a really positive way. And so I would say from my father was a music professor at the local university, and his income, I would say, would be middle class. We lived in a very ordinary home with beautiful land around it, but man, that home felt like something. And
Hmm.
I think that is because of my dad's perspective of money.
Hmm.
My dad's perspective of money was that it was meant to build relationships and people. That
Hmm.
is what money was used for. And so, because my father had the summers off, I spent summers in Europe as a middle
Hmm.
class family because he didn't spend it on the house. He didn't spend it on the cars. And those things are fine, right? I want a big house
Yeah.
someday. It's all good. But like money was a tool to help people become closer together. And when it came
Hmm.
to that, my dad was all for it. He brought us to Phantom of the Opera. He took us on boats and trains to Disneyland. And he just tried to create experiences to help our family bond. So I was brought up in a way that money is a tool. Money is a
Hmm.
tool. And from my mother's perspective, what was fascinating is I think traditionally in a lot of religions, there is maybe a cultural standard that the man is the breadwinner and that the wife raises the family. And you know what? I actually kind of believe in it. I
Hmm.
believe in it in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
And I believe that a woman needs to push herself and a woman has an opportunity to grow and progress because her husband within his job will grow and progress. And so if you can grow and progress together, that marriage will actually be stronger and you will
Hmm.
stay in touch with each other and you will push each other and create something beautiful. And so what I saw with my mom worked in the home. My mother was an author, a religious author about church history with my faith. And I loved seeing her do that. She did it while we were at school. She did it while we were napping. She did it while we were playing with friends. And I think the thing that I bring home so deeply is I saw my mom contribute financially,
Mhm.
but more importantly, I saw what it did to my mom. I saw that it brought confidence, it brought expertise, it brought friends, it brought opportunities for her. And so she had this beautiful full life where she was a fully present mother, and also just in the wings was creating these incredible books that would impact lives. And the benefit of that was also some financial gain for our family as well. But I will never forget what it was like as a child to come home from school and to go racing down the stairs and to walk into her office, and she's sitting at her little gray Mac computer, those big bulky ones. And the minute I would walk in, she would turn off the computer screen and she would turn her chair away from the computer and face me knee to knee and say, "Tell me everything."
Wow.
Right?
Awesome.
And
Yeah. Mhm.
somehow my mom, that is, I mean, life goals, hashtag life goals.
Mhm.
That is the type of woman I am aiming to be, is
Mhm.
one that does both of them. And that to me is an abundant mindset. And so
Mhm.
that was how I was raised. I don't have any dirt to give you, Adam. So
Mhm.
sorry.
No, that's awesome. I love it so much. This is so uh it's just so beautiful to see how how it's possible to actually, see from different people and how they've been actually raised. And it's just I haven't been that lucky to actually have that.
Most have
So
not.
yeah,
Most have
yeah.
not. I recognize that.
This is just amazing. And this is in my scenario, it was that my parents been always working super hard. I haven't been able to see them.
Oh,
We've been like, two jobs at the same time to just get by. And so I've been raised by my grandparents most of the time. So the whole point of why I'm doing this is to actually be able to be present, help other people, serve people, but being present for my kids. This is this is the biggest vision and biggest movement that actually drives me, um, in entrepreneurship. But it's so amazing. I love how your parents been actually raising you. That's just incredible.
well,
Um,
and Adam, sorry to interrupt
no,
you. If it
totally.
gives you any like spark of excitement, my mother from her family of origin was that chain breaker in her home. She decided to be the one to find ways to learn and grow and be present, and that forever
Ooh,
changed my life.
wow.
So you're that person, right? I was lucky to be raised by that person,
Hmm.
but hopefully that gives inspiration to you that it's worth pursuing because there's going to
Hmm.
be people that come after you that
Hmm.
will be greatly benefited from your courage and your efforts.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. That's just amazing. Um, But tell me how actually you've been taught that money are tool to connect with people. This is so rare, I would say. Oh my gosh. Um, so how this all shaped who you really are?
How, so repeat the question. How has,
How this all shaped who you really are, like your values, your beliefs about
oh,
money and so on.
that's a super good question. And I would say most, like, I'm going to be more absolute. Our perceptions of money dictate who we are. It is that
Mhm.
powerful.
Yep.
It is that powerful for good.
Yep.
It is that powerful for evil. And so it is such a determining factor
Hmm.
in how we operate each and every day. And I would bring up an experience that I had when we were dirt poor
Hmm.
in medical school. We're talking like $280 a month for a family of four for groceries, right? And simply impossible. My grocery budget is like 10 times that, right? And when I look at that perspective, a family member of mine came to visit, a family member that was a lawyer at the time and was single and was staying in five-star hotels and was legal counsel for a very major nonprofit organization, and a female. And I was so jealous of her. I was
Hmm.
jealous of what she was wearing. I was jealous of her freedom. I was jealous that she was traveling. I was jealous she got to stay in these hotels and she got to go to balloon festivals and see Hamilton on Broadway, and she had all of these experiences. And here I had two babies and I was drowning and could, like, didn't even have time to brush my hair in the morning. And I looked at her and I was so jealous,
Hmm.
right? And I will never forget sitting at Trader Joe's with her. They had like some little places to sit in Arizona,
Yep.
Trader Joe's, so visual to me. And I'm sitting across from her and I told her, I just said, life is so hard right now. And I was like, I would give anything to go see Hamilton on Broadway. I would give anything to go to that hot air balloon festival you're talking. I would give anything to sleep in at a hotel on a Saturday morning. Like I was just in this space of drowning. And her response changed things for me.
Mhm.
She looked at me and she said, I hear you. I see that you're drowning. And here's the reality. When I go to see Hamilton, I am alone.
Mhm.
And when I go to that hot air balloon festival, I'm alone. And when I go to that hotel and I go sit in the hot tub and I eat breakfast at some fancy place, I am alone. And so she said, there's more, there are parts of your life that I would give it all up for.
Mm. So,
And I just could never, I still clearly, right?
Mhm.
20 some like sort of 20 years later, I cannot forget that experience. And that's when I realized that Hamilton, which money can buy, is only awesome if you get to share it, right? A 7-course meal in Dubai is only awesome if it involves people, right?
yeah.
That's what I mean by money is a tool. And so that shapes me. That
Mhm.
shapes my endeavor. That shapes my desire for the type of home that we're saving for, or that shapes how I spend my weekends. That shapes every single decision that I make with money is, does this help me solidify relationships that matter to me?
Mhm. So powerful. I love it so much. This is wow. I have no words to this. This is just amazing. I love it so much. Really. Um, so what script you were taught growing up about you know, how you should actually become successful in front of your parents?
Mm. Ooh, that's a super good question. How is success determined
Mm-hmm.
by parents?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say this would be a source of trauma for me growing
Mm-hmm.
up, right? A form of trauma. I am a third child.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of being a third child, I have two older sisters who are two of my best friends, who are very impressive individuals. You would see us lined up and you'd be like, wow, they're all triplets. We all look the same. Okay. You would know they were my sisters.
Wow.
And they have been exceptional from the very beginning. They were very obedient. They were very driven. They were very good at school. They were very involved in our religious organization. They were impressive. They were impressive. And I think that as masterful as my parents were about attention to each child and loving each child and providing great experiences, I felt very hidden. And often when a child feels hidden or unseen, they will go for any form of attention, even if it's negative attention, right? They'll often be naughty and they'll do things to just try and get eyes on them and receive that kind of feedback. And I wouldn't say that I went like the I'm going to go do terrible things to get attention, but I was very, very conscious that I wanted my choices to be different than theirs so I could have my own space. So I was the only one that gave up, time during my 20s to go serve a mission for my church. I went to Detroit and was a missionary. The ones with the big black badges that you should let in your door because they are starving. Okay,
Right.
like I did that. Probably more so for the reason of I wanted to stand out in my
Mm-hmm.
family
Mm-hmm.
rather than I wanted to commit to the religious word and the religious work, which is probably a bad confession to make. But my intention was I want to do something different. I was the only one that went away to school, and I went to a completely different school than
Mm-hmm.
everybody else in my family went to. And so I was constantly looking for ways to try and stand out. And in hindsight, while my intentions were probably impure and not totally in line with what God asked me to do, I think God knew that would get me somewhere. I think he
Yep.
knew that if
Mm-hmm.
Sarah can feel seen, like let's
Mm-hmm.
help Sarah feel seen. And if she can feel seen, she'll get out of her own way and she'll try to help other people. And so I actually really, really encourage people. It's okay if your intentions have a little bit of humanity in them,
Mm-hmm.
have a little bit of human experience, because I think God can create miracles with your less than 100% pure intentions because he is that good.
Mm-hmm.
He is that divine. And that's what's brought a lot of perspective and drive to my life, was just that human desire to be seen and to be noticed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How you actually what are you teaching your kids? How they supposed to like are you supporting them in every area that they want to like what they want to do, how who they want to become, or do you have some type of specific way of actually teaching your kids how to be successful, like truly successful in life.
I love that. And I would pull it back to say, we don't use our own philosophy of success to teach them. We use
Mhm.
God's philosophy.
Yep.
So we go to church and we study scriptures as a family
Mhm.
and try to make everything connect there.
Mhm.
That success is actually determined by a vertical relationship with God
Mhm.
than it is a horizontal relationship with the world.
Mhm.
And that's what we try to show. And so I have two of my kids, I won't say them by name. One is incredibly type A, 4.0, straight A's, turn
Yep.
everything in. The
Mhm.
other one is incredibly passionate and incredibly creative and
Mhm.
incredibly good with people. And school is not a strength for this
Mhm.
child, right?
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
cannot parent those two individuals the same way,
Mhm.
right? Because the second child will feel dumb
Yep.
and the first child will feel uncreative and undervalued, right? And so what we try to do is we try to help them determine what their success is. Like, go talk to God about that. What
Mm.
what does God
Mhm.
want from you? Not what do I want from you? I want you to progress and I want
Mhm.
you to put effort into something. I want you to do things that challenge you and push you. And
Mhm.
guess what? School is that for you.
Mhm.
And creativity and music or dance or whatever it may be, that is it for you. It's different. It's different, but God expects us to reach and to grow and to serve other people. And so, how is God going to help you do that? You need to go to Him. You
Mm.
need to go to Him. And so, giving
Mhm.
Him them that autonomy to help them. I mean, can we just say we're in the same coaching program, you and I?
Yep.
And it's like you got to help them determine what their blue dot is, their future
Mhm.
is. What
Mhm.
is it that they want? And
Mhm.
is God behind that? And then yes, we will help you facilitate how to get there. But
Yep.
you have to determine what success is for you and what
Mhm.
that feels like.
That's so good. So good. Um, I think from on in my perspective, do you school like are you doing homeschooling or
My kids
you
are in public school.
public
Mm-hmm.
school? Okay, very
Yep.
interesting. Okay, because for me it's like I'm thinking um because the way that I've been raised in a public school being kind of really harsh, I would say. It
Yeah.
was really like I've been always kind of like push on the side that people like I've been always like people think about me that I'm really like a different, really different because I've been different than others. I was like always dreaming and visioning about what I'm going to create and so on because I wanted to be always something create something big and
Yes.
so for me it's like it's a really good idea to putting like to letting kids going into public school. What is your opinion on that actually?
Oh, this is an incredibly diverse opinion in the world of entrepreneurship, right? So I'm married to a physician who
Mhm.
went a very traditional route of school,
Mhm.
right? Out
Mhm.
of complete necessity. He had to go to medical school in order to be an anesthesiologist. Like that was the route that made sense for him. I used my degree from Brigham Young University as a music educator. I
Mhm.
used it for 3 years and I haven't used it since,
Mhm.
right? So we both went traditional routes for schooling. And so it's probably easier for us to step into public school with our kids because we had largely positive experiences with it. But I almost wonder if the question is not do you support or do you not support the public school system? Because wow, that is super location
Mhm.
dependent, especially in the US. The question has to be at a principal level
Mhm.
of what what values do we believe in,
Mhm.
where do our kids want to be,
Yep.
and what are the requirements, what is the fastest path for them
Mhm.
to achieve those things, right? I have
Mhm.
one child that absolutely wants to be like a foreign diplomat,
Mhm.
right? He is 9. He already knows he wants to be like I
Um,
didn't even know what a foreign diplomat was, right? When I was 9 years old. He is going to have to go to college as of how the
mhm.
world is right now.
Yep.
He is going to have to go into political science and all this kind of stuff. That's going to be the route that he's going to need to take.
Yep.
And so I would probably bring in my inner Ben Hardy and I would say, if you haven't read the book 10x is easier than 2x and the
Mhm.
science of scaling,
Yep.
you can't make an opinion about public schools.
Mhm.
Because if all you're looking at is you're looking at public school versus homeschool, neither of them matter if you don't know what the 10x goal is.
Mhm.
Neither of them matter.
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I have dear friends that homeschool. I was at one of their houses yesterday, and like, all power to them, and she crushes it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
I have dear friends that have their kids in full-time public school and are going to university, and they are killing it because
Mm-hmm.
they know exactly where they're going. And so the question is, I can base an opinion on public school based upon where my family is going. But if you haven't determined what the 10x target is,
Mm-hmm.
a million directions will get there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
going and living on a random compound in Montana and like raising everybody on a farm, it doesn't really matter because you actually
Yeah.
don't know where you're going. And so that's where I would push. And I would say both of them are fabulous options. Where are you going?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is your opinion on why we aren't taught about money in the school?
Oh, that's a super good question. So I believe that we are not taught about money in school for two reasons. Number
Mm-hmm.
one is because it's a taboo topic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a taboo topic as far as you have a public school system that has kids who can't even eat breakfast because of the amount of money coming in, and other kids that are driving, the latest Tesla truck into the parking lot, right? And so it's taboo. It's
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to say it, it's almost like talking about health and wellness and weight
Yeah.
in school,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
My husband is really not allowed to talk about people's weight, even though it is directly related to their success with anesthesia, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
offensive,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a massive impact on whether they're
Mm-hmm.
successful with what he does. But he has to be incredibly careful in navigating that topic. And I think public school, instead of trying to address it in a way that feels very whole and very principally based, they've just said that is a parent's job,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is a parent's job. And we don't know how to touch that where everybody's worlds are so different when it comes to money, because
Mm-hmm.
they like to deal in absolutes. And that's probably my second opinion, is if their job is to prepare people for university,
Mm-hmm.
then they feel like they need to hand a well-rounded person that can then make a decision about what they want to do as a job, and they don't feel like money management and money mindset are essential navigating tools to helping them decide what they're going to study at university, which I disagree with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because, when I basically finish school, I have no clue about money, how it works,
Right.
anything, like literally zero. And um, so my first and actually lucky step was that I started learning about money because I've been kind of deep into investments.
Yes.
And that was, I would say, that was the thing that actually made me realize that there are different ways to make money than just being employed.
Then just to
Right.
blow it. I love it.
So it was really interesting actually, and I've been like completely obsessed. But I had my, mindset belief, like like basically false beliefs about um like what I can do with a certain amount of money, and if I'm able to actually, because my belief was that I have to have money to be able to invest money, which is kind of true, but there are different ways that we can actually make money with less amount of money. And anyway, but when we coming back to a point where the breakout moment happened to you, what actually that moment made you feel like when realized that your husband, or at that time it was husband already, was how it make you feel that he's been actually able to make more money than you working as a band director.
Yeah. I mean, the best word that I could think of is resentful, right? I
Wow.
felt resentful, even though like this money's all coming into the same house and we're trying to build a family here. It made me go down to a space of, was my degree a waste?
Mm-hmm.
Because I loved it. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I loved it so much,
Mm-hmm.
but was it a waste? And so it put me on a trajectory of, how do I have a life that makes money, that is scalable, that I don't have to be in an office for? I can be with my kids during the day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it started to create a shape
Yep.
to what I wanted for the future once I got over my anger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I see it very much as an opportunity of, my mother as an author was an anomaly back then,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
an absolute anomaly, because the internet did not exist. She got in as a published author and was able to contribute to the home. She would have sold her soul for the opportunities I now have.
Yeah.
with AI and with connections and with networking and with webinars. And like she would have sold her soul for this. And so
Mhm.
I almost feel like a responsibility to say, okay, I was angry and resentful for a hot minute, but like, holy smokes, how quick can I turn this into an opportunity? Because I can sit here and complain and be mad, or I can pivot. And that has served me so well
Mhm.
in entrepreneurship. And my guess is I know your journey a little bit, that like the ability to face something and say, this is the worst, and then say, okay, it doesn't have to be. I'm going to face this way now. It is a gift. And that is an entrepreneur through and through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so powerful. You know, how did you like what belief did you had to actually like been shifted at that time for you when you see somebody else like, making more money different way than how you've been making yourself?
Ooh, can I give you two?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. The first one is time does not equal money.
Yeah. So,
I
so
know you and
powerful.
I both believe that.
Yep.
Time does not equal money. And the second thing that I would say, this is a Richie Norton, something Richie Norton taught me, is if you can change the way how you sell,
Mm-hmm.
you will change everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I am so crazy passionate
Mm-hmm.
about one-to-many selling.
Mm-hmm.
Is there is an opportunity there that is completely untapped
Mm-hmm.
in most industries. If you're in the ClickFunnels industry, you think everybody is doing webinars in the whole world. They are not.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have a really good chance of standing out in your industry if you do a one-to-many presentation, but change how you sell. And to put a frame around this for people, Richie Norton talked about the first time he actually made solid money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when his father let him borrow his van. And have you heard this story? It's
No,
so
no, no.
okay. You will love this. I should send you his book. If you'll remind me, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
his dad was like, here, you can have my van. Let me give you an idea. Go down to the farmer that sells watermelon and ask him for all of the ugly, unsellable watermelons
Mm-hmm.
and buy all of them and load up the truck, load
Mm-hmm.
up the van.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Richie did. He was like 16 years old. He loaded up this entire van full of watermelon and he drove it down to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Drove it down to the beach, cut everything up, and sold beach on the watermelon on the 4th of July.
Mm.
Would people pay a premium on the beaches of, I can't remember if it's Hawaii or California, sorry, Richie,
That's
but
okay. Yeah,
on the beaches of California, let's say, would they pay a premium for watermelon on the beach for the 4th of July?
totally.
Change how you sell.
Awesome.
Change
So
how you
awesome.
sell it because
Yeah.
it you can charge differently if it's in the grocery store and perfect. Then
Mm-hmm.
you can change, so you can charge so much more even if it's an ugly watermelon on the beaches of California on the 4th of July. Change how you sell.
So powerful. So powerful. Does that actually change the way you uh, sell and so on?
Yes, because before I met wonderful Russell for $97 in the One Funnel Away Challenge, I was trying to make
Yeah.
money in some way. And the way that I was actually doing that was through photography.
Wow.
And yeah, and I paid for Christmases and birthdays and nights out at Jimmy John's or whatever for our family when we were in total poverty through photography. But I had to show up for it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't scale family photos. Like
Mm-hmm.
you just take the family's photos and you edit them and you deliver them,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And so I started to think about how do I actually take this skill and how do I sell it? So
Mm-hmm.
that evolved into how do I change how I sell this? Okay, I'm now going to teach people how to take family photos. So I did an online
Mm-hmm.
class, how to
Mm-hmm.
use your camera, how to, and that's like a whole conversation for
Right.
another day. But I started to recognize that I needed to be really good at what I do. I needed to do the thing and master my craft, which
Mm-hmm.
was family photography. And then
Mm-hmm.
second, find a way to change how you sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There were many ways I could have done that. I chose to put it into a class form and teach people online how to do it themselves. Right.
Yep.
I could have done it a variety of ways, but that's how it started to shift things for me. And I'm continuously looking with how can I change how I sell this? And that's what has brought me into the world of one-to-many selling.
Wow. All right. So the One Funnel Away challenge, that was the first actually like your starting point being in the online space, right?
Right.
So how did you actually start learning about, you know, sales and, you know, this type of webinar strategies and so on? How did you get into that? What was the path? Because, you know, I don't think that right from the beginning you know what is marketing and all the stuff that you have to actually know being
Yeah.
able to produce results. So how was the journey for you, actually?
Yeah. I would say the frame I would take into this is give me give me a scrappy entrepreneur
Hmm.
over a loaded entrepreneur every single day of the week. Okay. There is something about the common bootstrapper that is near and dear to my heart because they have to be incredibly resourceful, right?
Hmm.
Incredibly resourceful.
Yep.
And if you ever want to share it with your audience, I have the original webinar that I did after the one funnel away challenge, right? I sold a product, laugh out loud. I was literally selling Russell's offer, right? At the end of
Yeah.
the webinar. That's
Hmm.
what I was selling,
Hmm.
right? I was resourceful. I didn't have an offer, right? I didn't have one, but I sure as heck can sell the thing that I just barely tried to figure out 30 days
Right.
before, right?
So
So I
that,
was resourceful.
yeah, so that first um the one funnel away challenge, that was actually of about building a perfect webinar, or was it like lead? Because then they shifted, I think, to lead generation or something like just a lead magnet or
Right.
something. So it
Right.
was a actually perfect webinar right
It
from.
was not.
Okay,
It was not. It was actually how to build your first funnel.
yeah,
What is a
there you go.
squeeze page?
Yep,
What is
yep,
a
yep.
sales page? And what is a one-time offer,
So
right?
how did you get into webinars?
Okay. Well, and I think this matters a lot because
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of you may be like, no fair, you made 3 grand because you did a webinar. I could never do that. So the reality is I happened to land. This is where I was lucky. I
Hmm.
happened to choose a way to sell it that was completely aligned with my God-given gifts and talents, right?
Hmm.
I am unafraid to teach online. I am a good teacher. I'm really good on the fly. I don't have to like script everything out,
Hmm.
right? Like
Hmm.
if I do that, I get strangled, right?
Hmm.
If everything is scripted, right? So I leaned into my gift.
Hmm.
And my gift was on video, live, let's go. That's where my energy comes from,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep.
If you are someone that is brilliant by storytelling and the written word,
Hmm.
my hope is you lean into his email marketing strategies,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
If you are someone that needs something scripted and isn't great on video, my hope is you do a webinar and you don't show your face, right?
Hmm.
Like get scrappy, get
Yep.
scrappy. I think we all think, oh my gosh, I have to have my face on camera and I have to be like crazy like Sarah is in order for my
Yep.
webinar to be successful. It's a lie. It's a total lie, right? It's a total lie. But lean into your gifts. That's not a lie. Leaning
Hmm.
into your gifts that way. And so all I did was I posted for about 10 days straight on my social media,
Hmm.
all my friends and my family. I didn't cold DM anybody. I didn't scammy MLM anybody. I didn't, but I posted, I said, I've learned some incredible things. I think this is like God's gift to helping women make money from home online. If you want in, it's free. It's 60 minutes. I'm going to be here at the whiteboard. Let's go. I didn't have slides,
Hmm.
right? I went to the whiteboard and taught a webinar that way. How did I learn a webinar? Expert secrets. I
Hmm.
just said, what are my sketches going to be? And it happened to align with my gifts and talents. And I got to tell you, I should share the screenshot with your people. For those of you familiar with Russell's World, he has you do an offer stack
Hmm.
and he has you like reveal each step and the value of what's in the offer, right? You're nodding because you know this, right?
Yep.
I have the most hysterical screenshots of me doing that. And it is a separate whiteboard that I'm holding and I'm ripping the papers off of the whiteboard as I go. And the tape has erased like half of the offer. You guys, it's live. It was awful. It was awful. The doorbell rang in the middle. My dog was barking. I had to leave, like whatever. And I still made $3,000. And
That's
that
awesome.
was the starting point on growing a business online. Like it was so messy. It was so messy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many people overthink this piece, and I've been guilty of this also. You know,
Me
for the
too.
beginning, yeah. So that's leading. The question is leading to like, have you always been that energetic, you know, and having fun, you know, crazy ladies jumping around, you know what I mean? Have you been always like that or no?
Yes. Yes. So since I was young, my mom used to always laugh that I would do cartwheels down the hall. I have always been that way. And I have always been the one that like said stuff in a group
Hmm.
setting or in an interview or
Hmm.
something that people may not dare say or
Hmm.
ask. And it's because I'm obsessed with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with figuring you out, Adam.
Yeah.
Like what makes you tick? And so I'm just willing to ask the stuff
Yeah.
that I think will help me better understand and build a relationship with
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say I have massive hearing loss. Okay. Most people don't know this. That's why when I go to Josh's event, I always get to sit in the front, right? Because I just do not, I hear like 30% out of one ear and 40% out of
Right.
the other.
Yep.
And it has been such a gift for me because I have insane eye contact. Like I am
Ooh.
with you, I am present because
Uh-huh.
I literally cannot hear you if
Uh-huh.
I can't see your mouth, right? And
Wow.
so I have
Okay.
looked at that as a major strength of mine,
Yep.
and it's allowed me to talk louder than anybody else because I'm deaf, and it allows me to just connect with people very intimately and not be afraid of that because it's the
Mm-hmm.
only way I can communicate.
And what happened actually? What happened that you had lost hair loss or something? Yep.
I was born with it. My mother had it. I
Mm-hmm.
have it. And then my son actually wears hearing aids.
Mm-hmm.
He has it as well. And so I have to again view that as an opportunity and as a gift rather than something that's kept me behind.
Totally, totally. I love this because this is like, when you say, I've been studying lots of Myron Golden, right?
Mm.
And he's saying even like not just him, but lots of people saying, everything what's happening to you is not happening to you, it's happening for you, right?
Yes.
And this is
Yes.
so powerful. I love it so much. Like, the coin has always two sides, and that's
Yeah.
that's period, right? So this is just amazing. So now tell me, what are you actually like believing at this time that would your younger you wouldn't believe or thought that you were completely crazy?
So if you could see my office, you would see that I have two little homages to the movie Wicked in it. I love the movie Wicked, and I am most drawn to the character Elphaba, who is the
Mhm,
Wicked Witch, right?
mhm, mhm,
And I would say that for so long I fought my rebellious nature.
mhm,
I am a rebel in a lot of ways.
mhm,
And I struggled with that within my own faith on some of the things I desired or that I was working towards, where they misaligned with what culturally was expected of me
mhm,
within the frame of my faith.
mhm,
And even with motherhood, like my kids are with a nanny right now while you and I are recording.
mhm,
I am so happy to be here with you. And 10 years ago, I don't know if that younger Sarah could have swallowed that. I don't know if she could have been okay with that. And so, because it would have appeared so rebellious and so abandoning and so whatever. And while Josh Forty, who is one of my coaches and my mentors, wasn't the first one to teach me this, he is someone that really made it land for me. And I remember there was a conversation we were having back and forth on Boxer, and Adam, poor Josh Forty, I was sobbing. Right, I was like, I cannot do this. He's trying to teach me a whole new thing, and I'm like, can't do this, and like it's gonna take too much time, and like I'm crying because I have a 12-hour work week. People, I have a 12-hour work week. That's what I do, and I knew what he was asking me to do was going to take more time than that. So I'm sitting there bawling, and he's like, okay, 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 it's going to take a lot of time, whatever, whatever. But like, why do you care? Why do you care it's going to take time? Like, what does that mean to you? What story are
mhm,
you putting behind that? And I said, I'm going to be a bad mom. And I
mhm,
just said it in Boxer, right? Poor Josh. Poor Josh. I'm going to be a bad mom. And he said, oh, oh, so Sarah, you're telling me that if you spend more time away from your kids, you're going to be a bad mom. And that actually may be true.
mhm.
Can we go down that road?
Yeah.
Let's go down that road. And here's what he said. He goes, okay, so without thinking, you do not have time to think about this. I want you to Voxer me back right now and tell me what is a good mom.
Mhm, mhm,
And guess what? I could not answer.
mhm.
I had no defined version or
Yep,
vision
yep.
on paper on what a good mom is. And so, of course, I was failing at it
Mhm,
because I had nothing to measure it against. So here, Josh Forty, who is a male with like a brand new baby, is the one that pulled out of me my own definition of what a good mom is. And
mhm,
now I'm settled in a 12-hour work week.
mhm,
Now I'm settled having a nanny and a house cleaner.
mhm,
I am settled in the fact that we eat dinner together every night because that is part of being a good mom to me is that she's a gatherer,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Like now I have something to measure it up against. So I actually know if I'm a good mom or not. And that has been such a game changer for me. Define it so you
Hmm.
actually know if you're doing it or not.
This is powerful. This is super powerful because I see most of the people, they're just going for something they don't even know what is the end
All of
goal,
us.
right? And it's this,
Yeah.
I just wrote, I just put it down because this is so, so powerful because
Mm.
yeah, I will think about some stuff that I've been actually working on also because this is so good.
Me
Um,
too. I'm
yeah,
going to go home and do it too. Yes.
yeah, yeah, so good. Um, so what is your vision actually into the future with what you are building?
Mm. I love that question. This is where you have to define it, right? So we certainly have revenue goals. Our goal in the next 3 years is to produce 10 million in revenue for our clients. That is our goal. We'll keep our own revenue numbers private, maybe for this public stage, but to produce $10 million in revenue for our clients and the webinars that they are producing and that we're producing. So I'm creating that. As far as a vision, I am just hell bent on doing all of that while not working more than 12 hours a week.
Mhm.
I'm going to go to my grave with it, Adam. I just am. And again, it's my rebellious nature. You tell me it can't be done. Yeah, right. Here we go. Here we go. And so I'm in a space right now of how do I only do the essentials? And when I look at my life, can I sit down at each moment and each hour and say, yes, this was essential,
Mhm.
right? Like this past week, I have spent an hour to 2 hours every day playing Mario with my two youngest kids on the Switch. And when I am done playing Mario or Zelda, right, for all those cool Zelda people out there, I'm like, this was essential.
Mhm.
This was essential. And that's what I want to feel is I am doing things that are essential. And I'm not going to let the world dictate what those essential things are. I'm going to have mentors close to me that help me narrow those things. And I've got a vertical relationship with God and with my spouse. And we're going to build a life where we spend our time doing things that are absolutely essential.
Mhm. But tell me, what is the why behind you're trying to actually, accomplish those 10 million, you said 10 million for your client revenue? Why is it like that? What is it for you actually? What does it mean for you?
10 million in revenue for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I am obsessed with the world of mastery.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that if I can spend more time in the world of mastery and proof, that the traffic and the leads and the sales conversion process will take care of itself. To
Mm-hmm.
me, the essential piece for the business right now is proof, 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 mastery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that also gives me a window to be able to take myself out of it more and more and more and more as we figure out what really makes us so good at what we do.
Mm-hmm. So powerful. Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. I love this
Delight.
conversation so much. You're just amazing person. I have no words about you and what you are building. We met so many, like few times already, and it's just like a blessing to have you around. And I would like to end with last question. Um,
Sure.
so if this would be your last interview you would ever done, what would be the message you would like to leave behind you?
For fear of offending people who are not religious, I'm still going to say it. I would say live vertically,
Mm-hmm.
live vertically, cut out the noise on this horizontal level, live vertically, um, because someone has your best interest in mind.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being here. And um, before I let you go, where people can find you.
Find me on Facebook. I'm a conversationalist. And so you can certainly go learn stuff on Instagram and you can find me on YouTube and whatever. I want to have a conversation with your people. So have them find me on Facebook and let's start a conversation. And I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And for everybody who's listening, if this is something in you, don't ignore it. Share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe, leave a review. And remember, you weren't born to follow the script. You were born to be free. Bye, everybody.